Have you woken up lately with stiff legs, aching knees, or a strange pressure in your calves that just won't go away? You stretch. You try to walk it off. But the discomfort stays. Sometimes, it even gets worse. And here's the worst part. You've been eating healthy. Or at least, you thought you were. But what if I told you, the pain isn't coming from what you eat? It's coming from how you combine certain foods. Because there's one food most of us trust, especially for breakfast. That could be making the pain worse when paired with the wrong things. Eggs. Alone, they're full of protein and nutrients. But when mixed with certain other foods, they can silently trigger something dangerous inside your body. Chronic inflammation. And for seniors, this can be especially harmful. Inflammation doesn't just stay in your stomach. It spreads to your joints, your nerves, your legs. It can make every step feel like a struggle. Now here's what most people don't realize. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive. Even normal foods can trigger painful responses if paired poorly. And that's what this video is about. Today, I'll reveal 6 foods that should never be eaten with eggs, especially if you're over 60. Because these combinations can quietly lead to joint pain, nerve irritation, burning legs, and eventually, a serious loss of mobility. But here's the good news. Once you know what to avoid, you can take back control. You can reduce inflammation. You can protect your joints. And you can move freely again, with less pain and more confidence. So stay with me. Because in just a few minutes, you'll understand how these common food pairings might be silently working against you, and how to fix it. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe if you care about your health and well-being. Tap the bell so you never miss a vital update. And in the comments, type 1 if you're learning something already. Or type C if you've got a question or want to share your experience. Now let's begin. Here's the first food you should never mix with eggs. And it might just be the most popular breakfast combo of all time. Point 1. Processed meats, bacon, sausage, ham. Let's start with a breakfast combo that's been loved for generations. Eggs and bacon. Or maybe sausage, or a slice of ham on the side. It's warm, salty, comforting. And it brings back memories. Sunday mornings, family tables, that familiar, sizzling sound in the pan. But here's the truth nobody tells you. This combination might be comforting to your taste buds, but it can be destructive to your joints. Processed meats like bacon, sausage, and ham are filled with hidden dangers, especially for seniors. They're loaded with sodium, preservatives, saturated fats, and nitrates. Each one a small spark. But when combined with eggs, it's like pouring gasoline on the fire. Eggs naturally contain sulfur compounds, which are usually harmless. But when they meet the nitrates found in processed meats, something dangerous happens inside your body. They create a reaction that increases uric acid levels. And when uric acid builds up, it doesn't just stay in your bloodstream. It settles in your lower body, your knees, your feet, your ankles. It creates sharp, stabbing pain, very similar to gout. You might feel a burning sensation in your calves, a deep ache in your feet, or stiffness in your knees that makes walking feel like climbing a hill. And it doesn't stop there. Over time, this constant inflammation can do lasting damage. It weakens your joints, reduces your mobility, and slowly chips away at your independence. You may find yourself avoiding stairs, holding onto furniture just to move around, or feeling emotionally exhausted from the daily discomfort. All from a breakfast that seemed perfectly normal. So the next time you sit down to eggs and bacon, ask yourself, is the flavor really worth the flare-up? Sometimes, the most comforting foods are the ones hurting us the most. And now that you know this, let's keep going. Because the next food on this list, it hides behind a soft, warm, familiar face. But deep inside, it's doing just as much harm. Before we reveal it, tell me in the comments. Have you ever felt pain after eating a big breakfast with eggs and bacon? Now, let's talk about refined carbs. Point 2. Refined carbohydrates. White bread, bagels, muffins. Now think about this. You've got your eggs ready. And what's the first thing you reach for? Maybe a slice of soft white bread, a warm bagel, or that muffin sitting on the kitchen counter. It feels like a complete breakfast, right? But here's what's really happening inside your body, especially if you're over 60. Refined carbohydrates, like white bread, bagels, and muffins, might look innocent. But they're stripped of fiber, nutrients, and anything your body actually needs. The moment you eat them, your blood sugar spikes, fast and high. Your body scrambles to react. It releases insulin. Your immune system kicks in. And in the chaos, inflammation starts to build. Now pair that with eggs, especially fried or scrambled eggs, and you've got a meal that feels heavy and digests even heavier. The combination slows everything down inside your gut. That sluggish digestion creates gas, bloating, and irritation. But for seniors, it doesn't stop there. Because a slower metabolism, weaker circulation, and a more sensitive digestive system means this inflammation doesn't stay in the stomach. It moves to the joints. It travels through your blood and settles in the places you least want it: your knees, your ankles, your feet. That's why some people feel morning stiffness, like their legs just don't want to wake up. And by evening, swelling, heaviness, a dragging sensation that makes walking feel exhausting. All from a slice of bread and a couple of eggs. You may not feel it right away, but over weeks and months, the damage builds up, until one day you realize your steps feel different. Slower, more painful, less free. And nobody tells you it's coming from the very thing you eat to start your day right. It's not your fault. We've all grown up thinking toast and eggs are a perfect match. But now do you know better? You deserve meals that help you move, not hold you back. And next, we're going to look at something that feels warm, rich, and satisfying, especially when it melts on your eggs. But it could be doing more harm than you think. Before we get to it, take a second and share this with someone who eats bread and eggs every morning. Not to scare them, but to help them avoid what you've just learned. Now, let's talk about cheese. Point 3. Cheese, especially processed or melted. Now let's talk about something that feels almost too comforting to question. Cheese. Maybe it's a sprinkle of shredded cheddar on your scrambled eggs. Maybe it's a melted slice on toast. Or maybe it's hidden inside your omelette, adding that rich, creamy taste we all love. But here's the problem. That warm, satisfying feeling. It comes with a cost, especially when it's processed cheese. Most of the cheese we use for breakfast is not fresh, natural cheese. It's processed, filled with artificial additives, preservatives, saturated fats, and something called casein, a milk protein that's known to trigger inflammation in sensitive individuals. Now think about this. As we get older, our gut health starts to decline. We don't digest heavy fats and dense proteins like we used to. Our digestive fire slows down. So when you eat cheese with eggs, you're combining two dense, heavy-to-digest foods, one full of sulfur and fat, the other packed with artificial ingredients and inflammatory compounds. The result: your body struggles to break it down. Digestion becomes sluggish. Inflammation builds up in the gut and slowly spreads to your legs, knees, and lower back. You might feel a dull pressure in your thighs, tightness in your calves, or a sense of heaviness in your joints that never quite goes away. And because the damage is slow and quiet, you don't realize it's happening until one day your legs don't move the way they used to. You stop standing as long. Walking feels harder, and your confidence begins to fade. all from a few slices of cheese. So ask yourself, is that creamy texture worth the swelling you feel later? Is that melted layer of comfort worth losing a bit of your freedom, one step at a time? It's not about fear, it's about awareness. Because once you know what's hurting you, you can choose better. And that choice can change everything. Now, I know what you're thinking. What about vegetables? Those are safe, right? Well, not always. Because some vegetables, no matter how natural they seem, can silently spark inflammation too, especially when eaten with eggs. Let's talk about a group of veggies that might be doing just that. Nightshades. Point 4. Nightshade vegetables: tomatoes, peppers, potatoes. Now here's where things get even more surprising. We all grow up believing that vegetables are always healthy. And most of the time they are. But what if I told you, some vegetables, especially when combined with eggs, could be quietly feeding your inflammation? I'm talking about nightshades. That includes tomatoes, bell peppers, chili peppers, and yes, even potatoes. Now let's be clear, these vegetables aren't toxic. But for many seniors, they can act like a slow-burning fuse. Why? Because nightshades contain a natural chemical called solanine. And solanine, in sensitive individuals, can irritate the nerves, inflame tissues, and confuse the body's response system. If your kidneys or liver are a little weaker with age, which is common, your body struggles to filter solanine out. It lingers, and when that builds up, you start feeling strange symptoms in your legs, feet, and joints. Things like a burning sensation behind the knees, stiff toes in the morning, swelling in the ankles that comes and goes without reason, or even numbness, as if your nerves are flickering on and off. And here's where eggs make things worse. Because when you combine eggs with nightshades, like tomatoes in an omelette or peppers in a breakfast scramble, you're creating what some doctors call a trigger stack. One food irritates the nerves. The other slows digestion and adds sulfur-based inflammation. Together, they make your body feel under attack. And for seniors, whose systems are already more sensitive, this creates a perfect storm. It may feel like arthritis. It may feel like nerve damage. But in many cases, it's just a buildup of the wrong combinations over time. A breakfast that looked healthy, but felt terrible hours later. So if your joints feel swollen after eating eggs and roasted potatoes, if your feet burn after a veggie-packed omelette, it might not be in your head. It might be in the food. The good news: you can avoid this. You can choose vegetables that heal rather than hurt. And we'll talk about those later in this video. But first, let's move to something even more sneaky. Something that looks sweet, feels light, and tastes innocent, but can quietly make your legs ache and your nerves scream. Sugar. Point 5. Sugar, jam, jelly, ketchup, or sweetened drinks. Now let's talk about something small, but powerful. A little spoonful of jam, a squeeze of ketchup, a sip of sweet tea or juice with your eggs. It doesn't seem like much, right? Just a bit of sweetness to start the morning. But that small bite can do something big inside your body. Because as we age, our ability to handle sugar becomes weaker. What used to feel like a harmless treat can now act like fuel for inflammation. Here's what happens. When you eat sugar, especially added sugar from jam, jelly, syrup, or sweetened drinks, your blood sugar spikes. Your body releases insulin to manage it. But with age, that process slows down, which means the sugar stays in your blood longer. And while it's there, it causes damage. It creates a reaction called glycation, where sugar molecules attach to your joint tissues and blood vessels. Over time, this stiffens your joints. It damages cartilage, and it irritates your nerves. The results: tingling in your feet, burning calves, A strange tightness in your legs that comes and goes. And worst of all, that sense that your body just isn't recovering like it used to. Now, when you pair sugar with eggs, you create a confusing situation for your digestive system. Eggs are slow to digest. Sugar is absorbed quickly. The imbalance creates inflammation in the gut and bloodstream, which spreads to the joints and muscles, especially in the lower body. For someone in their 60s, 70s, or beyond, this is a dangerous combination. Especially if you're dealing with diabetes, prediabetes, or poor circulation, all of which are common with age. And the scariest part: you might not connect the dots. You might blame your shoes, your posture, or your age. But in reality, that sugary drink or sweet toast topping could be quietly feeding the pain. So here's the truth. Sugar is not just about weight or cavities. It's about inflammation, nerve irritation, and the slow breakdown of your mobility. If your knees feel stiff after breakfast, if your legs feel like they're wrapped in pressure or heat, it might be that tiny bit of sweetness on your plate. And once again, the solution isn't hard, but it starts with awareness. Now, let's move to the final food on our list. It's one that was once marketed as healthy, but is now known to be one of the most dangerous choices for aging joints and legs. Let's talk about margarine. Point 6. Margarine or artificial butter substitutes. For years, margarine was sold to us as the healthier choice. Better than butter, they said. Good for the heart. Cholesterol-free. It sounded like a safe switch, especially for seniors trying to eat better. But now we know the truth. Margarine and many artificial butter substitutes are filled with hydrogenated oils and trans fats. And these are some of the most dangerous substances you can put in your body, especially as you age. Here's why. Trans fats don't just sit quietly in your system. They actively interfere with your body's ability to fight inflammation. They stiffen your blood vessels. They damage the soft tissue that protects your joints. And they disrupt how your cells absorb nutrients. Now, add eggs to that mix, a natural source of cholesterol and fat. And you've got a combination that's extremely hard on an aging body. Your arteries tighten. Blood flow slows down, especially to the legs and feet. And over time, you begin to feel the signs. Numbness in your toes. Aching calves that don't respond to rest. Throbbing knees that act up without warning. And yes, those mysterious leg cramps that wake you in the middle of the night. Most people have no idea where this pain is coming from. They stretch. They take painkillers. They blame aging. But they never look at the margarine they're spreading on their toast every morning, or the way it mixes with the eggs on their plate. Because the damage doesn't show up right away. It builds up slowly, quietly, silently. Until one day, you're not walking as far. You're not standing as long. And every step feels just a little bit heavier than before. But here's the hopeful part. You can turn it around. Your body is always trying to heal. And by removing foods like margarine and replacing them with healthier fats, like olive oil or avocado, you support that healing process. So the next time you reach for that butter substitute, ask yourself, is this fake fat helping me or holding me back? Because the smallest changes can lead to the biggest results. And now that we've uncovered all 6 food combinations to avoid with eggs, let's take a step back. Let's understand why these combinations are so harmful, especially for seniors, and how you can make your meals work for you instead of against you. Why these combinations are dangerous for seniors, summary and deeper explanation. Now you might be thinking, eggs are healthy, right? So how can something so simple cause this much trouble? That's a fair question. And here's the answer. It's not the eggs alone. It's what they're combined with. And more importantly, how your body reacts as you age. You see, when you were younger, your metabolism was faster. your digestive system was stronger. Your body could handle sugar, fats, chemicals, and additives without much protest. But with age, everything starts to slow down. Digestion isn't as smooth. Your gut lining becomes more sensitive. Your blood flow isn't as strong in the legs and feet. And your body's ability to remove information, it weakens. Now imagine this. You eat a breakfast with eggs and bacon, a muffin, maybe a little jam, and a bit of margarine on the side. Individually, none of it seems like a big deal. But together, they create a chemical storm. Sodium, sugar, trans fats, preservatives, artificial dyes. They start triggering alarms inside your body. Your immune system thinks you're under attack, and it reacts by sending out information to fight the invaders. That information doesn't stay in your gut. It travels. It affects your nerves, your joints, your muscles. And because your legs are already working harder to support you every day, that's where the pain shows up first. A burning in your calves, a strange buzzing in your feet, a pressure behind your knees that just won't go away. And the saddest part, most people never trace it back to the food. They assume it's age, or arthritis, or just bad luck. But food is more than just fuel. It's a message. Every bite you take tells your body to do something. It either tells it to heal, or to break down. So when you combine eggs with the wrong foods, the message becomes confused, chaotic, and inflammatory. And over time, that leads to stiffness, soreness, and the slow loss of something priceless: your freedom to move without pain. But don't let this scare you. Because the same way food can harm, it can also heal. You just need to know what to pair with eggs, so your breakfast helps you feel better, not worse. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. Let's flip the script. Let's look at the right combinations that support your joints, ease inflammation, and protect your mobility at any age. What should seniors eat with eggs instead? Solutions and alternatives. Now that you know what to avoid, let's talk about what to eat with eggs, so your meals help you heal, not hurt. Start with leafy greens like spinach or kale, sauteed lightly in olive oil. They calm inflammation and support circulation. Add a few slices of avocado, rich in healthy fats that protect your joints and steady your blood sugar. Swap white bread for sweet potatoes or quinoa, gentle on the gut, full of fiber, and great for lasting energy. Cook your eggs in olive or coconut oil, not margarine, to avoid hidden inflammation. And for a final boost, sprinkle healing herbs like turmeric or parsley into your eggs. The key: keep your meals natural, simple, and balanced. These aren't sacrifices, they're upgrades. They help you move better, feel stronger, and live with less pain. Now, let's wrap this up. Because we've covered a lot, but it all leads to one simple truth. So now you know, the eggs on your plate aren't the problem. It's what you put next to them. A few innocent food choices, made every morning, can quietly lead to years of inflammation, joint pain, and the slow fading of your strength. But here's the good news. You're not powerless. You're not stuck. And it's not too late. Because food is more than fuel. It's a language your body understands. And every bite you take is either saying, "Let's heal," or "Let's hurt." Today, you've learned which combinations to avoid, those that feed inflammation, trigger nerve pain, and weigh down your mobility. But more importantly, you've learned how to build meals that heal. Simple choices, natural foods, real ingredients that work with your body, not against it. And you don't need to change everything overnight. Start small. Try one new breakfast. Replace just one food. And notice how your body responds. Because the smallest changes can lead to the biggest relief. Imagine this: waking up without stiffness, taking a walk without pain, standing longer, moving freer, feeling lighter. That's not a dream. That's what happens when you listen to your body and feed it what it needs. So here's what I'd love for you to do now. If this video opened your eyes, even just a little, let us know in the comments. Type senior health tips if you found something helpful. Or type 0 if you have feedback or want to share your story. Don't keep this information to yourself. Share it with someone you love. Someone who deserves to live with less pain and more freedom. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. Because we're just getting started. Every week, we share powerful, easy-to-understand tips to help seniors live better, feel better, and move better, without pills or pain. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. And remember, your body wants to heal. Your food can help it. And you have more control than you think. Thank you for watching. Stay strong, stay smart, and take care of yourself. Because you deserve to feel good again.